Hey guys, welcome back. King Dro here. Thanks for all the support. I really appreciate it. If you like my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. So today I'm going to be showing you the new way that you can feed gachas. Recently there was a change to the way that the gachas work with seeds. Mostly they just changed the seed decay timer. Before there was no timer at all for seeds. Now there's a timer. So that kind of did change quite a bit since before we can store seeds in a dedicated storage and we could stack up to 1800 stacks and it would last a long time and it would make it more efficient. So I wanted to find a new way that we can have something that we can easily farm and not spend a lot of time doing and yet get something similar in results. So today I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to be using. Okay, so I'm going to be using element ore. You wouldn't think that would work, but it actually works pretty good. I tried all sorts of things. It only requires 20 element ore to produce one crystal. So I'm going to put 200 ore in each gacha. Also, don't forget to put snow owl pelts in your gacha as well to make your production much more efficient. So I use 12 gachas or 6 pair, and you're going to see that it does produce pretty well for the amount of resources that you put in. And on Crystal Isles, element ore is fairly easy to farm. If you hang around the video, I will also show you where to farm the element ore on Crystal Isles and also Aberration. That's the only other map, I believe, that you can farm element ore. It's a shame that you don't have a gacha that can make element ore, which I'm surprised, but so on Aberration, it's on the surface or it's also in the red zone down by the drakes. I prefer on Aberration to farm it on the surface just because I have a teleporter right at the surface entrance, which makes it easy for me, which I will show you later on in the video. You can see that by the time I get back to the beginning, there's already quite a bit of crystals on the ground. I like to use a whip to pick them up, but you can also use, your traditional E or F to pick them up. Alright, so I'm gonna AFK in my tech pod for a couple minutes while I go do something else in real life, and then I will show you the results in a few minutes and see what we do. Alright, so it's been exactly 2 minutes since I cut the video, and I was AFKing for about 2 minutes, and you can see the result of the gacha crystals. You also maybe notice, but there's still quite a bit of ore inside of the element gachas. So it does not eat it very fast, but it produces quite a bit for the little bit of ore that you put in. And if anyone's ever farmed ore, you get quite a bit of ore in a very little bit of time. Yes, you could use stone, but stone, they go through a lot more stone to produce one crystal. And yes, element ore in some areas are a little bit trickier, like on Aberration Surface. Not everyone might have access to it, but if you're on Crystal Isles, it's very easy to get. It's not dangerous at all. It's just underwater. Alright, so I'm going to AFK again for a couple minutes so we can use up all of that 200 ore, and we'll see the result in a few minutes. Alright, so it's been exactly 2 minutes again, and we can see the results of the crystals. Gotcha's down, still has 80. This one has 20, but we still have a lot of ore inside of the gotchas. Some of them have 60, some of them have 40, but for the most, that one has none. But for the most part, they still have a little bit, so we're going to start collecting some here, and we'll see how many we get. Alright, so I went around and I collected a bunch. I think all in all, I got about 100 crystals in that little bit of time. I think the total time from the time I started putting in the gacha crystals till the time that I picked them all up, we're talking about 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Yes, my gacha towers aren't like the most efficient. I know that, but I don't like the big tower ones because I think they're ugly. This one's a little bit more simple, but it does work for what I need it for. I only primarily make dust for myself for using, so it's okay for me. All right. Well, the gachas are still producing because they still have ore in them. So I could have waited probably a few more minutes, but it's okay. So I'm gonna open up all my gacha crystals here shortly, and you will see the results. All right. So after I opened up all my crystals, I got roughly just shy of 12k dust in about the 8 minutes or so it was from the time I started. Not too shabby for 200 element ore per gacha, which took me all of not even 10 minutes to farm the element ore for that, and I did it on Crystal Isles. It's more efficient for me to farm it on Aberration. I just don't personally like transferring large amounts of volume, but you certainly could do that. And farming it on Crystal Isles, it's really not that hard either, which I will show you later on in the video. Alright, so now I'm going to show you real quick a demonstration between two gachas being fed seeds and then two gachas being fed just the ore. I'm going to do 200 ore in each gacha on this one side, and then the other side I'm going to do 2,000 seeds on the other side. And you'll see the comparison. All right, I'm going to cut ahead to the end where they've already produced all the crystals for the element ore, and we'll see the result for that, okay? All right, so it's been several minutes, and the gachas on the right have eaten all of their element ore just about. And you can see the production for the element ore and for the seeds. Now, there are some seeds left over. I think it ended up being about 500 or so seeds left in each gacha after all of that. So 1,500 seeds equaled about 200 element ore. So that's a pretty good comparison that gives you an idea. Seeds can still be used, but then every time you do the gachas, you're gonna have to do seeds. You're gonna have to make them, which yes, they're not hard to do. I was just mostly looking for an alternative. If you wanted to, you can farm up 30,000 ore and be set for a while. Stick it in a dedicated storage, and you're all set to go. Okay, so now I'm going to show you where to farm the element ore on Crystal Isles. You're going to need an RG with good weight, or decent weight, and then you're going to need an Ankylosaurus and also a swimming dino and some scuba gear. I use my tech suit because it does provide oxygen and I can zip around much faster than with regular scuba. But you need a weight dino for transporting the ore underwater. I use a Mosasaurus, but you can use also a Tuso, you can use a Plesiosaurus, you can even use a Basilosaurus. Anything that has a decent amount of weight, you'll be able to use. All right, so key point: make sure when you bring a dino with you, it actually has a saddle. I did mess that up. Fortunately, I can just have it follow me, so it's not a huge deal. There is zero threat down here. I've never seen a wild dino in this area, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen. But it's never happened for me, so I wasn't too worried. Just had it follow me and around, and it worked out fine. Okay, so you're going to go down into this tunnel, and then you'll see the element ore. They're black rocks with like pink glow on top of them. And then the key to farming these, you can use a pick, certainly, but you're going to farm a lot more with a Anki. So a Mantis also works with the pick, but the Anki just works out better for me. So the key to not drowning your Anki is to unpot it, hop on its back real quick, and then you want to make sure that the Anki is super encumbered before dismounting. If you don't, when you dismount, it will float. And when it starts to float, it's very hard to pod. And every time that I get full, I pod the dino and then I empty it out. That way it has more oxygen and I can farm down here longer. If you need to farm down here quite a while, I would bring a second Anki so that way it doesn't drown. There are quite a bit of nodes down here, so you can farm down here for quite a bit. Probably the most efficient way of farming down here would probably be a crab, since crabs don't have oxygen and they can have pretty good weight. I've never tried it, but you would need two people, a rider on the crab and then a rider on the Yankee. But then you're still going to have the issue of the oxygen for the Yankee. So you might have to switch out Yankees after a little bit. This way works out pretty well for me. It's pretty much endless. There's tons of them down here. Those nodes, some of them are kind of glitched almost. It's very hard to hit with the Yankee. I didn't have as much issues with that with the Mantis. I've also tried the Mantis. If you do the Mantis, remember it's the same as the Yankee. They will float if you don't have a good amount of weight on it. And you want to use a pick with the Mantis. And the nice part about the Mantis also is that the Mantis generally has higher oxygen value, at least mine do. So I can pretty much be down there a little bit longer. The only downside too is Mantis swims much slower than the Ankylo does. So that's another thing to consider. Alright, so we're on Aberration now on the surface to show you where to farm it on Aberration if you choose to go there instead. Here are the coordinates. This is the entrance to one of the surfaces. This one's in the southwest location. It's in the red zone, the entrance. I built at the very top on a cliff platform, so it's great. You're going to need a Spino or Megalosaurus to take care of the Reapers if they come. And you're going to need an Ankylo and something with weight. I use a gas bag. You can use a Basilisk. You can use whatever you want. A skiff does work, but the problem with the skiff is it can only hold 500 element ore inside the skiff at a time, so you would have to have a box on top of the skiff for it to work that way. You can see that on this surface entrance, there's a huge cluster right not very far from my teleporter. And you can see there's tons of it everywhere. Everywhere you see the little black rocks with the little yellow, pink glowing light on it, those are the element ore. This cluster is going to give me a ton. So I'm just going to farm it for a little bit and show you how well it works. And it's very easy. It's fairly safe. Sometimes there are Reapers in this spot, but that's why we have the Spino. Spino can take care of it very easily. Just don't forget also a light pet to debuff the Reaper if in case it does come. I also wanted to add that if you didn't know, on the surface, you can only go on the surface at nighttime. And on Aberration, they have different cycles of nighttime. There's 50-50, 50% day, 50% night. There's 90% day, 90% night. It's kind of obnoxious, actually. But anyway, you can only go on the surface at night. Once it becomes day, it becomes extremely hot, and it'll actually kill you and your dino. So just be aware of that in case you didn't know. Alright, so you get the gist. There's quite a bit up here. You can farm as much as you'd like. If you wait and farm on like a 2x or 3x amount, you get quite a bit. You also get a lot of metal up here. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you the gist of how to farm it up here. I think you understood. Then I put it back in the gacha, pot everything up. Well, not gacha, sorry, gas bag. And then we go back to the teleporter and teleport home. So I hope that this video was helpful in an alternative way to feed your gachas. And if you like what you see, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.